Alright, YouTube. Welcome to the Rooster Hollow Homestead. You can hear the roosters. Something different today. Kind of sitting down. You get to see me actually do our tomato plants. It's 80 degrees, overcast today, so I thought, you know what, today's a great day to do these outside. Our tomatoes they got their second leaves already. The first ones have already started dying off. We're a little bit late on this, but that's okay. You know, we are zone 6 and this has just been a crazy year as far as weather. I mean, we're 80 degrees today, but you know what, we were in the 30s 2 days ago. So it's been a lot of up and down here, so we're kind of scared to actually even think about putting anything out. Our last frost date here is usually goes by the weekend of Mother's Day. So the weekend of Mother's Day is usually when everybody in the zone 6A, 6B does all their gardening, starts planting. So we still have like another 3 weeks to go. And these are still really small, which is okay. I mean, the stalks have gotten pretty big. They're not real spindly. They're not spindly at all. They're fairly sturdy. So we are going to transplant these, and at this point in time, we are going to. Every year I do something different. So I got a big old bee. So this year, the idea was. Last year we had plants that were like this high, but the stalks at the bottom were thicker, but the tops, they just kind of fell over. Not very many leaves on them. We started them in February, which was way too early, and that didn't go well. So this year I have plans on actually we started a little bit later. I started these the last week of March. It is now the middle of April. So these have been going for about 3 weeks. Maybe 3.5, close to 4. So these are really small. And that's okay because you know, we still have another 3 weeks to go, and I didn't want spindly plants. I would prefer smaller, healthier plants than these great big tall spindly ones. It's just not what I want. So that's what we're doing today. One of the things you'll see me doing is these first leaves at the bottom. They're all yellow already, so you'll be seeing me picking these off. So if you see stuff dropping, that's what it is. These are all still in the little K-cups. Just a couple things that we have noticed and why we know it's time to actually transplant. About a week and a half, 2 weeks after these came up, one of the things we saw right away was that the stems started turning purple, and then the bottom of the leaves, the back of the leaves, were actually very purple. This one isn't, but this one still is fairly purple. And that also stops and stunts their growth when you see them turn purple. And when they turn purple, that means they're running out of nutrients, which isn't surprising because of the fact it's just a little K-cup. There's not many nutrients left in here, and it's absorbed everything. So we went ahead and just let them grow really slow. Didn't water too much. And then last week we went ahead, and they were only basically up to here. And then last week we went ahead and shot them with some fertilizer. And now, as you see, like these leaves are no longer purple at the bottom. They're doing really good. Some of them are still a little purple, but not really bad. But here's a good example. These ones here, they're not purple at all. That means they now have enough nutrients in here. They started growing. You can see like the purple at the bottom, that is the new growth. So it's time to, before they do get spindly, to get them restarted. Now when we go to plant these, I'm going to be planting them in our red cups. These will be their forever home until they go to the garden. And we are going to actually be planting these deeper. So we're just going to let just the leaves basically stick up out of the ground. And then all these little hairs that you will see on your stems will turn into roots and give it a nice good root system. These probably have gotten a little root bound. I am splitting these, so a lot of these have 2 in them. I am going to split them. Hopefully we're not too late. We shouldn't be, because we are just now seeing the dying off of the first leaves and turning them yellow. So we should be still okay. When you're going to have 2 plants, and I think I mentioned this in the previous video, if you have 2 plants in 1 cup, you want to split them. You don't want to split them right away because you'll kill the plant. You need to let the plant get a little bit more mature and get a better root system, because once you split, if the plant is very susceptible to dying at that point. So you want to make sure that you have a fairly mature plant, and I'm not talking mature as huge and big, but you know, these are now about 3 weeks old, so they are doing really good. The other thing that you want to do when you go to separate these is you do not want to touch the stems. When you go to pick these up, pick them up from the leaves like that. You're not going to hurt them. Don't worry about that. But the stems have these little hairs, and those little hairs, each and every one of those can turn into roots when they are down inside of dirt, and they automatically start rooting. But you can actually damage the plant by damaging those hairs. So you don't want to pick it up by the stem. You want to actually be picking it up from the leaves. And the leaves, you don't have to worry. You can, you know, they're fairly good and healthy, and you know, you're not going to damage the plant in any way by doing that. So when you go to split these, you want to split them just when the first leaves start dying off. Now I'm a little bit later, but some of these, a lot of these still have their first leaves, and they just start dying off and falling off and stuff. So I don't think I'm too late. I think I'm still okay. But that is the best time to split them. That means that there is a root system already, and any later and those roots start curling together, and then you're going to break roots when you're splitting them. Any sooner and there's not enough roots, and you're going to end up killing the plant. So this is approximately about the best time to actually split them, and that's what we're going to do. A lot of these have 2, and I'll be splitting them. So we're going to do a couple today. I got my bag of organic potting soil. The way I usually do this is I fill the cup about halfway with soil, and we're just going to go ahead. We'll take this one. Squeeze the K-cup. This is one of the reasons I love K-cups to start plants. You know what? They're reusable. I use them every single year. If you don't use K-cups, we do, but only on a very, only because we don't drink a lot of coffee. I drink like 1 or 2 cups a week here, so it's not a big deal for me. But at work, at the office, we use K-cups. That's what everybody uses. So what I end up doing is I end up putting a bag out next to the coffee thing, and I just ask them, you know, I'd like to recycle these and reuse them for plants. Can you please save them? So as people are using them, instead of throwing them in the garbage, they throw them in my bag. And then I remove the top cover off, and then inside you'll see that there's coffee and then also a liner in there. So that's how come the coffee comes out the bottom. So you just basically, I dump all the coffee grinds out because I'll end up moving those into the garden, and then I just rip out the liner and it comes right off, and you got your K-cup ready to go. Already got the hole at the bottom, and they're reusable. We use permanent marker on these, and the permanent marker, if you have a magic eraser, it's brilliant to remove permanent marker, so you just basically rub it on there, it rubs it right off, and you can reuse it again and again. So that's what we do. I have approximately about 300 of these, so we have more than what we have ever used so far. And you know, if one breaks, that's not a big deal. You just get another one, you know. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and do these. So I'm going to squeeze my K-cup, move it around. I don't want to grab the stems, but I am going to put my fingers so they are in between, and I'm just going to dump it out. Got my K-cup. I'm going to set it over here. And the other thing that you might want to do, and this is very, very moist, it's actually dripping water, is you're going to want to make sure you water these before you do this, because when you go to split these, if you have dry soil, you will definitely be breaking the roots. So you want to make sure these are very well watered, and you will see that there's no roots twisting around. It's not root bound or anything. You can see the separation of the roots. They're sitting back out here. So that's actually really good. Looks like it's the perfect time. And I'm just going to take it and just gently move my fingers back and forth and just slowly separate. And there you go. No roots broken. So then we're going to take one. I'll just set it down in here. I'm going to take one and I'm going to set it down in my cup. Again, now you're going to want to hold it by the leaves. Do not touch the stem, and just fill it up and around our plant, taking it all the way up. I'm just going to press slightly. You don't want to push real hard. You don't want it compacted. Now you're probably saying, well, holy cow, there's like hardly anything left of this. Do you really want to do that? Yes, you do. When you go to put these out in your garden, all those little hairs on that stem are going to become roots, and it's going to have a really, really nice root base. And the really nice root base is important when it goes out to the garden, because if you have a good root base, it doesn't matter if you only have 1 or 2 leaves up top, even when it goes out to the garden, because this is what is going to keep this plant alive. And it's also going to allow the plant stem to actually start thickening. So for today, since it's such a nice day and it's overcast, it's not a lot of sun or anything, I'm going to end up leaving these out here. We got a little bit of breeze blowing. The breeze is also good. It's going to cause the stems to thicken. And that's another thing inside. At this point, when you're going to go taking them inside, you don't want so much do it at the little point, but once you transplant it, you might want to just get a fan and, you know, just put it on low and let it blow on the plant, because when that plant feels the vibration of the wind and stuff, then that stem starts getting thicker and thicker and thicker, and you're going to have a very, very healthy plant that's going to be able to withstand being transplanted out into the garden in your soil. And you know, it's not going to get blown over. It's going to stand nice and straight. You can cage it at that point, stake it. And what we did last year is we just let them lay on the ground. And if you're going to just leave them on the ground, just put some hay or something down around them. That way the tomatoes that do ripen, they're sitting on hay, and you don't have to worry about any of them rotting. But the only thing about putting them on the ground when you plant them is that you'll have to go out there very often to make sure you grab anything that's getting ripe, because you know, they are on the ground. Even though they're on hay, they will actually rot, so you're going to have to keep an eye out for any tomatoes. So there we go. We'll do one more. It's really quick. Fill it halfway with some soil. Grab it by its leaves. I might have a little too much. This one's a little bit bigger. And just pop it down in there. Hold it by its leaves. Grab some soil. I'm going to pack a little bit. Still not full yet. Put some more in. And there we go. I have a couple other videos I need to get edited. I have been doing some videos. If you're worried about soil on it, you don't really have to worry about it, but you could just go like that and it'll knock the soil off. And we have 2 now. One of the things we'll be doing is, and I'll probably do this prior to actually putting soil in there, but I usually just use a steak knife. And I'll just put a small hole in. I'll just go up and I'll turn the knife and it puts a small hole. And what this does is this allows any of the water to just drain out the bottom. I'll take one that does not have a hole, put this one in it, and that way it doesn't link at all. And now we can just set these on our shelf underneath our lights and it's ready to go. So I'm going to set that one there. We'll get this one. I'm just going to poke a little hole. Just be careful you don't cut yourself. And it doesn't have to be a big hole. It's just a tiny little hole. I mean, it's probably like a pencil point. Get one that doesn't have a hole, stick it in there, and this one's done. So some of the things that we're doing, I'm going to go grab you. There we go. Darren's over there. We're putting together the goat barn. We just built we had all of this right here was all a deck, went all the way across the entire house. That part of the deck, when we were remodeling, was not in good shape. So we removed it. We did not throw away the wood. A lot of the wood was still in fairly good shape. I mean, it's not like great shape that you want to reuse it for another deck, but we knew we could reuse it somewhere on the homestead, and that's what we did. We are building a goat barn. Just used them and built a basic frame, and he's putting down the deck wood, and we'll build on top of that. So anyways, we'll get into more of that when we start actually putting stuff up. I just got a new job. I start Monday, so unfortunately it's like an hour and 15 minutes from the house. So I'll be traveling a lot, so there won't be many more videos. You know, there's not going to be a lot of videos, and Darren needs to get this worked out and put up right away, because we do have our 2 baby goats have been purchased, and we are just waiting for weaning, which is only going to be a couple more weeks, and we'll be bringing them. So we got to get something built fairly soon, and Darren does not know how to use a camera. Well, he does, but he's not very good at it, and he kind of forgets that it's on, and then he'll forget that to look to see if it's plugged in and all that good stuff. Well, anyways, I don't know how much of that you're going to see, but I am going to try and do as many videos as I can, and we'll go from there. But that's what they're doing. They're out doing that. I'm here at the table just doing my plans. So if you like the video, hit the like. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. If you have any questions, comment below, and we will see you on the next video.